Yo, what's going on people? It's your boy Ape Huncho back at you again with another video, and so for this next one we've got to head over to Birmingham where rapper Tallerz has been handed a jail sentence for an incident that happened back in 2019, and believe it or not he was actually connected to a wider group, but we'll get more into that as the story goes on. But if you guys are unfamiliar with Tallerz, he's been doing his thing for a little while now, and I personally found him back in 2019 when he dropped his Die Young remix. But to be honest with you guys, I didn't even realise he'd been caught up with this recent case, and I want to give a shout out to my Instagram followers for actually plugging me this, because again I wasn't aware of it, because it wasn't too long ago where he'd actually put a song out called Used to This, which was a fresh home song, and here he'd been released from jail for a separate incident which I can't find any reports about. So I am shocked to see that he is back in the news once again and he's landed himself back in jail. So what has he done to land himself back in jail? Well, believe it or not, he was actually a part of a gang who netted around £330,000 during a string of robberies across Birmingham. On one of the raids around lunchtime on the 18th of July 2019, it's believed that Tallerz had threatened security guards with an axe at a one-stop store in Handsworth, and here the group made off with around £20,000. He'd also been linked to an attack on G4S security guards as they were delivering around £60,000 to a shop on Vicarage Road in Handsworth. For his involvement though, he was actually only charged with the one-stop store robbery incident, and here he pleaded guilty to the charge that was brought against him. There was recently a sentencing hearing, and Paul Spratt prosecuting said the defendant, talking about Tallerz, had a fairly significant face mask and was in possession of a fearsome looking weapon which appeared to have been a very sharp blade and a hammer at the other end. He was threatening staff members. There were members of the public present during the raid, including a deputy head teacher who had just came into the store to make an ordinary lunchtime purchase. Talking of the planning of the raid, the prosecution said that the gang had met at an address on Albert Road in Handsworth in the morning, and they later returned to that address after the robbery in a Volkswagen Golf, and it's believed that Tallerz changed his appearance before then leaving in a taxi. The prosecution added it was a quote professionally planned commercial robbery, and the way Tallerz had been identified was through CCTV, as police were able to identify him because of a distinctive tattoo on his arm. In court it was also told of his link to this wider group, where it's believed that two men, Giovanni Garrick and Keenan Anderson, both admitted conspiracy to rob at earlier court dates because they had carried out raids on 11 different targets over the space of 4 months, and I do believe the one that Tallerz was involved with was a part of that 11, and of course this is where this £330,000 comes into play. For their roles in the robberies, they had both been handed 10-year and 12-year jail sentences. After Taller's sentencing hearing though, he was handed an 8-year prison sentence, and in passing sentence, the judge said that the offence had been desperately serious, but he had taken into account that he was only being sentenced for one robbery. And so if we look at the wider picture, Tallerz was handed a pretty lengthy prison sentence, given the fact that he was only involved in one robbery. Now we have to remember that the other two who were involved in this bigger group had been handed 10 and 12-year prison sentences, but I do believe that they admitted to conspiracy of the 11 different targets. So again, when you look at it like that and when you put it into perspective, Tallerz was given a pretty long jail sentence. And again, it has come to a shock to me because over this past year or so, again, I have known about Tallerz for a few years now, but again, specifically over this past year or so, he has been making a bit of noise, and it seems like his career was about to take off. But of course now, like we've seen time and time again with multiple rappers in the UK, they end up getting jailed for a pretty lengthy jail sentence. But let me know what you guys think of this down in the comment section below. Give the video a little like, and if you want the latest drill, street and music news out of the UK, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your boy Ape Huncho, and I'm out.